Hello guys and welcome back to the final episode of Season 3 of our Burnley career mode here on FC 26. You'll see that we've dropped out of the top 4 as Liverpool have gone into 4th place. But the first thing that we're actually going to do today is sim through to Sunday, where our fixture against Nottingham Forest will take place, as the FA Cup final sees Leicester take on Arsenal at Wembley. I feel like we should have been there, but the significance is that we need Arsenal to win this, otherwise one of the European spots is going to be dropped, and it is Arsenal winning it by 2-1. I love an underdog story. I would have liked to have seen Leicester go all the way and win it, but we needed Arsenal to win it so that one of those European spots doesn't get dropped. But yeah, jumping into our first game of 2 today, it's our final home fixture at Turf Moor, and after a fantastic win against West Ham, winning by 5-1 in the previous episode, we've got a little bit of our mojo back, and I'm feeling like we can put the pressure on Liverpool in our final 2. They are at home to Fulham, where you would also expect them to win, so I'm expecting this to come down to the final day. Come on, you Clarets. Yeah, our first job of today's episode is get the win here to take it to the final day. Liverpool actually play in midweek rather than on the weekend, so if we do get the win here, we can put a bit of pressure on Arne Slot's side heading into match day 38. 20 minutes gone, so far no real chances for either side, but after that great win against West Ham in the previous episode, feeling confident that we can make it back-to-back wins here and take it down to match day 38. Well, still deadlocked as we kick off this second period. Not been the greatest of first halves, but I think both sides are sort of feeling a bit nervy. Well, Forest I don't think have much to play for, but for us, we know we need the win today. That's brilliantly worked. Juve, looked to pick out Larson in the middle and just got his feet in a bit of a muddle. Need to find that win today, because a draw is not a good result for us, as Hannibal pinches it and given away again. Florentino, great challenge. Amari into Hannibal, and Amari's gone again. Amari Hutchinson, it's wonderful. It's trademark Amari, and I was meant to show the respect against his former club, but instead the backflip comes out and he does it against his former team in what could be a huge goal for Burnley. It's been a game of fine margins, but he picks out that top corner to give us the lead. That could be massive. Jaden to Hannibal. Jaden lifts it for Juve down the left. Carmo comes across. It's Hannibal. It should be 2, and it is, as the Tunisian rolls in the second. Only his 4th of the campaign, but I've discussed previously how good this man is and what he brings to this team. That should be the points in the bag. Over to you, Arne Slot and Liverpool, as they take on Fulham in midweek. But I'd expect them to get the win and it to be going down to the final day. Yeah, fantastic win on match day 37, our final home game of the season. And we do close out here at Turf Moor with a win. I'm not actually sure how Forest are doing this year. They qualified for the Europa League last campaign, and I don't really know how well they've done in that competition. I've not really been keeping tabs on it, but it'll be interesting to see where they end up finishing in the league as well, with that sort of so-called European hangover. But what I'm actually going to do as we head back to the menus is check out what the score was between United and Leeds. United won it. That's a shame, because if it had been a draw, then we could have sent them down on match day 38. But I think that will move them outside of the bottom 3, where we jump into 4th for the time being. But there's 2 big games being played on Wednesday, so I'm going to sim through to the Thursday. Liverpool taking on Fulham and Wolves taking on Arsenal, and Liverpool won. As expected, they did win. So they take on Bournemouth on the final day. Let's just quickly check what the score was. 5-1. What a emphatic win. They take on Bournemouth on the final day at home, where I'd expect them to probably beat Andoni's side, who could give them a game, to be fair. whilst we, of course, travel to Manchester United, who they themselves, as Wolves got a point, we could send them down. We could send Manchester United down on the final day. If Wolves beat West Ham and we beat United, United are down, I would love to send them down. As a Chelsea fan, that would be fantastic. I'm more focused on us getting top 4, but if we can send them down, that will be really, really enjoyable. For us, though, on the final day, we need Liverpool to avoid winning or to fail to win at home to Bournemouth, and for us to beat Manchester United. So it's not done yet, but it's looking pretty likely that it will be Liverpool 4th and Burnley in 5th. I wouldn't mind going into the Europa League, but Champions League and prime time would be brilliant at Turf Moor next year. So final game of the season, still lots riding on it as there was last year as we lost to Newcastle. Come on, you Claret. Well, off and underway here at Old Trafford and loads riding on this. Of course, we could send United down, but more importantly, we could end up in the Champions League. We need a win as Sesko shoots and Nick Pope will claim and make the first save of the day. Of course, Wolves still need to win to send United down, so even a win for us today might not be enough, but I want to make sure we do everything we can to try and get into the Champions League and to try and send United down, as Nick Voltemada scores the opening goal for Newcastle. And worth pointing out, they could lift the title with a win today as Scott rolls through Amari. And there's Scott again, and Marcus Edwards looking to shoot, and it's well blocked. I reckon this is going to be a great game here at Old Trafford. Loads riding on this. Sesko for United out wide as Liverpool go a goal down at home to Bournemouth. Well, if we can find the win today, we could be playing Champions League football next season. I'm not getting too far ahead of myself as Beelan gets in the way of that strike, but Liverpool a goal down at Anfield. Jaden gets a toe in. Strand Larsen back to Jaden. Got Hector Fort for company. But again, we're on the front foot here. Strand Larsen round the corner. Marcus Edwards, wonderful goal. Flag goes up as he just strayed a fraction offside, looking for his obligatory goal against the Reds. But the flag denies him. Hutchinson, nice ball control, finds Scott. Now Florentino. Jackson, can he slide that through for Larsen? Yes, he can. Strand Larsen gets his strike away. Oh, Lamon's lost it and will hoof it long. If anyone had been coming in on that, they would have had a free open goal, but no one took a gamble, and we head into the break still deadlocked at 0-0. Waiting for that breakthrough goal. Scott to Edwards. Quick 1-2. Marcus Edwards always does it against United. Straight from kickoff. We race through and Marcus Edwards gives us the lead. And that could be the goal that sends us into the big time. Edwards again. Now Beelan through the gap for Amari Hutchinson. Nice football. Amari finds Juve. And Juve to Scott. Maguire had a nibble. Edwards gets there. Strand Larsen on the left foot, denied by Lamons. And United on the ropes at the moment. So nearly 2-0. And of course, that could be the goal that sends us into the Champions League. It could also be the goal that sends United into the Championship. Cunha, Sesko. Sesko through the gap. It's lovely football. And headed back into the middle for Sesko. Big save, and Juve gets there first on the rebound. Game's starting to open up now as both sides looking for the second goal of the afternoon. Pope goes long. Strand Larsen wins the header. Don't mind us going a bit longer when we're under pressure. That's nice football. Strand Larsen to Amari. This'll seal it. Amari Hutchinson, it's 2. And depending on the Liverpool result, we could be heading into prime time. 12th of the season for Amari. And it's a wonderful goal on the break. That should be the points in the bag. Now we're just waiting on news from Anfield. Well, it's all over here at Old Trafford, and I'm sure there will be celebrations of some sort, but it's not going to give away whether we've qualified for the Champions League or not. And we don't know if United are down either. No idea what the score was at Molineux. All we know is that we've done our job here at Old Trafford. Let's get back to the menus and see whether it was enough to secure Champions League football and whether we sent United down to the Championship.
Just a couple of questions for you.
Alright guys, well as we get back to the menus, I didn't actually see the email, but one of the Youth Academy lads, Dylan Nixon, has terminated his contract. I think he was one of the English wingers, so I'm not too beat up about it because we've got so many good young wingers in the academy. But taking a look at the league table, you'll see it there, Liverpool did win. So for Burnley, it means Europa League football next season. We were in the Champions League spots all season, but ended up finishing below Liverpool. They've won the league the last 3 times in the save, so it's no real surprise they went on a run. But this year, it was Newcastle with Pep Guardiola in charge, pipping his old team Man City to the title by a single point. I love to see that, man. This save has kind of gone crazy this season. You'll see why in a minute. But Newcastle winning the league under Pep. Man City, Arsenal and Liverpool into the Champions League, with us and Chelsea into the Europa League, and Spurs finishing in 7th should go into the Conference League. Villa, Palace and Fulham wrap up the top half of the table. And as we head down to the bottom, how about this, guys? Manchester United have been relegated. Elena Rubio, the new manager of the Reds, has got them relegated back down to the Championship. That's going to be crazy, man. What's going to happen in the summer? I mean, because it's FC, all of their players will stay, but that's just nuts, man. I mean, we saw it 2 seasons ago, well, last year in real life, with them finishing really low in the Premier League, but going down to the Championship alongside West Ham and Sunderland. As we take a look at the scores on the final day, of course, we already know that Liverpool won to finish in the top 4. Wolves did beat West Ham, which of course sent Manchester United down. And even with Man City winning, Newcastle won at home at St James's Park to bring the Premier League to St James's Park. What a crazy season, man. And Newcastle champions, Manchester United relegated. As for the top scorers, the Swedes at the top, Victor Gyökeres with 22, Elanga had 21, and Jörgen Strand Larsen, to be fair, 20 goals this season in the Premier League. I said I was going to stick with him, and what a decision it was, because he was fantastic. Same for this man, Amari Hutchinson. He ended up with 13 in 35, and I know that he was near the top for the assists as well. Let's take a look, and he was joint with Memphis Depay on 11. Victor Gyökeres and Jeremy Doku also had 11. Jürgen himself had 9. Hannibal had 9 as well. And you can see just how important our front 4 were this season. Jadon also in the top 25 with 5 in 31. And Alex Scott in there as well. All the Burnley boys in the assist charts. As for clean sheets, well, David Raya wins the Golden Glove with 16. And it's all of the Newcastle lads up there. EA really need to fix this, but Nick Pope had 14 in 38 and was second. But all of the back 4 made it into the team of the season. Esteve, Jackson, Beelan and Juve, all of the back 4 in the Premier League team of the season. So what a campaign for us defensively, even though I think it was our worst defensive season in the save. As for the other competitions this year, Liverpool ended up winning the Carabao Cup. I didn't really touch on it after we saw the draw for the final, but obviously they finished in the top 4, so it didn't really make a difference on the league standing. So Liverpool winning the League Cup, and we already know that Arsenal won the FA Cup, beating Championship Leicester in the final by 2-1. Graham Potter's Foxes. losing out to Diego Simeone's Arsenal. As for the European competitions, I think these have been played. The Conference League this year was won by Panathinaikos. How about that? Second Greek side winning the Conference League after Olympiacos did it a few years ago. Aston Villa were in it for the second consecutive year, but were knocked out by the Polish side Lech Poznan. As for the Europa League, the two English sides making it into the quarter-finals, but Nottingham Forest were knocked out by Real Betis, and Newcastle defeating Strasbourg in the semis meant they would take on Juve in the final, and they won it by 2-0. What a season for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, winning a league and European double. And we'll be playing in the Europa League next year, of course, not the Champions League. As for Europe's elite competition, a cracking Final Four lineup as Real Madrid took on PSG in the final, and the Parisians won it once again, second time in club history, as they defeated the Galacticos in the Champions League final. And a quick look at the championship table, where Southampton and Millwall will be coming up next year. How about that? I love it, man. Millwall back in the Premier League. That is going to be absolute chaos. But as for the playoffs, it was Swansea, Norwich, QPR and Stoke, after Norwich bottled it towards the end of the season after knocking us out in the FA Cup. As for the playoff final, it's Swansea City coming back up to the Premier League. Norwich really did bottle it, so it's going to be Southampton, Millwall and Swansea. I'm looking forward to those fixtures next year. Well, it was a great season for PSG, winning the Champions League and the league in France, but it was Paris FC who went all the way to win the Coupe de France this season, defeating Marseille on penalties in the final. What a feat for Paris FC. In Germany, it was another Bundesliga title for Harry Kane as they walked their way to the title, 13 clear of Dortmund. But it was VfB Stuttgart getting their hands on the DFB Pokal trophy. And I have a feeling they won it a few years ago in real life as well, unless I'm going crazy. So you love to see that for Stuttgart. In Italy, it was Inter Milan back on top in the Serie A, 6 clear of their fierce rivals AC Milan, but it was Juventus, Europa League finalists, who went all the way to win the Coppa Italia, beating Fiorentina by 3-1 in the final. And finally in Spain, after Atletico Madrid, I seem to remember winning the title last year, it is Real Madrid back on top. 6 clear of Barcelona, who, although missing out in the league, went on to win the Copa del Rey, beating Real Sociedad 3-1 in the final. And guys, as we close out the season, we'll quickly run through the squad hub, where we've seen Nick Pope hand in a transfer request despite me giving him a new contract. As you can see there, I can't even negotiate because I've given him one recently. This game's got so many bugs, man, but he and Dubravka will probably both leave in the summer. I think Max is going to come back and be my number 2. And I've already mentioned who I want to bring in as my number 1 next year. We've got quite a few of the youngsters heading out on loan, and quite a few of them have done well out on loan this season. So yeah, there's a bit of an overhaul of youth academy players making it into the save. What a season for our fullbacks though. El Hadj Malik Diouf, 2 goals and 6 assists in all competitions. And yeah, him and Jackson down the right hand side were absolutely brilliant. Beelan and Esteva building a really nice partnership at the back as well, and are both growing really nicely at 26 years of age. Quick loan watch, Ben Ball up 3 to 75 out on loan at Porto. And I think he will actually come back and play a part next year with us in the Europa League. Alberto Pardo, potential to be special, looks decent as well. But yeah, as for Jackson, 5 goals and 4 assists from right back. Diouf was more of a creator, whereas Jackson got a few more goals. But what a debut season for the Cameroon international. Florentino's brilliant in the heart of that midfield. He and Scott this year were absolutely phenomenal. Jadon Anthony has also handed in a transfer request. I think I'm probably going to sell him in the summer. Just the 1 goal and 1 assist this year, with most of his games coming off the bench. Lost his place to Jaden Philogene, who's kind of starting on that left-hand side now. 3 goals and 5 assists in his debut season for the club. Again, lots of youngsters out on loan. Benzai didn't feature at all in the Championship for Coventry, which is really frustrating, but starting to develop. Whether he'll be here next year, or has he got another year out on loan? Yeah, he's got 1 more year out on loan, so he will probably remain at the Rico. Speaking of players from the Rico, Jack Rudoni, quite a season for him. Just 1 goal and 5 assists, although a lot of those appearances did come off the bench. So I couldn't get him in the team because this guy was phenomenal. Just the 5 goals, but 10 assists from attacking midfield. That is exactly what you want from your attacking midfielder. He's stopped growing now, which is a shame, but I do think another good year we'll see him kickstart his growth again at just 80 overall. Surely he's got to have higher potential than just 80. But yeah, really good season for Hannibal. Scott was fantastic as well in that slightly deeper role. Again, more youth players out on loan. Marcus Edwards I actually gave a new deal to, and he's taken a rotation squad role. A new 1-year deal because he was fantastic. 9 goals and 2 assists, with 7 of those coming in the league. In the Cups, where he was more prolific than in the league. But Amari Hutchinson, who joined the club this summer from Forest, what a campaign. 13 goals, 11 assists in the Premier League. And he just elevated our attack to a new level. Still growing as well at 24 years of age. And I think he's only going to continue to get better. Hugo Sands, by the way, up 12 out on loan in Poland and looking pretty good. Still got another year. No, he's not got another year out on loan, has he? It was just a 6-month loan until the end of the season. But all of the youngsters are going to go out on loan. Taiwo Wanyi has submitted a transfer request. He is probably going to leave in the summer. Just 2 appearances, although he did manage a goal for us in the FA Cup. Jorgen was phenomenal for us. 20 goals and 9 assists in all competitions. He stopped growing now at 28, but I do think there's still a little bit of growth left in him after a fantastic season. 28 years of age, but he's definitely good enough to remain as our main man next year, unless there is big interest from a Champions League club. But Zeki Amdouni I really like as a backup. 6 goals and 6 assists is a pretty good return for a player that mainly came off the bench. And as I say, I'm more than happy with him as my backup to Strand Larsen. Whilst I think Armando Broja will probably come back and be our 3rd choice striker next season. But yeah, that will do it for today's episode, guys. I cannot believe Manchester United have been relegated down to the Championship. That is going to be crazy next summer with that squad that they're going to have, because I doubt most of the players will want to leave, as you would see in real life. And they're still sticking with this new manager as well. Crazy decision, but a fantastic campaign for Burnley. I've already mentioned that it's a little bit disappointing having been in the Champions League places for pretty much all of the campaign. To slip out towards the end is frustrating, but it's Liverpool at the end of the day. What do you expect? They were always going to give it a good shot. But this Burnley team is getting better year on year. We're still developing, and I think a few more kind of top signings in the summer. Heading into the Europa League, it's going to be interesting to see how we cope with that European hangover and whether we can compete playing Thursday, Sunday in the Premier League. But we'll be back in the next episode to kick off the summer transfer window, and I'll catch you for it very soon. Take care, guys, and peace.